The Vikings at one point during this game against the Green Bay Packers on the road at Lambeau Field, they were up at one point 28-0. It was smooth sailing until it wasn't. The Vikings escaped with the victory. Final score 31-29. As this video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. The only thing I'm really upset about is that I can't be as aggressive towards the Packers fans as I really wanted to and as I thought that I was going to when the Vikings were up by 4 touchdowns. But normally in this situation, years ago, I would go on a tirade and talk about the mistakes and emphasize that even in a win. However, a win is a win. There are mistakes that I think the Vikings can learn from. They made several today. Nearly blew a 28-0 lead and was going to be right there with the Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and even the Indianapolis Colts blowing a 33-0 lead against the Minnesota Vikings 2 years ago. They were that close to getting in the record books. But I'm not going to go off. I'm not. The Vikings still won. They're 4-0. But one thing is clear. The Vikings ceiling, whatever they accomplish this year, it starts with the defense. The Vikings got a total of 8 turnovers, 4 turnovers on downs, including 2 missed field goal attempts, 3 interceptions, and a fumble. You got a sack plus 10 hits on Jordan Love. Sam Darnold, he started off hot. You look at his stats, 20 for 28 for 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He was sacked 2 times for 21 yards. He ended up also taking an additional 3 hits by Green Bay's defense. But y'all were rolling. The Vikings, they were putting on an absolute clinic. I put on the Packers cheese head, mocking them and doing their little chant. It was a party. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison both got receiving touchdowns in the first half. Jordan Addison talk about how, hey man, everybody that critiques the Vikings and say how they're all frauds because, well, the teams that they face, look at the injuries that they had to deal with. They're not giving credit at the same time to the Vikings for the injuries they've had to deal with, including Jordan Addison being missing. Well, he finally returned. Not only did he get a receiving touchdown in the first half, also got a rushing touchdown. He was big today. But you look at how it was an absolute party in the first half, and then things started to go south. Not even just in the second half, but towards the end of the first half, where you look at the mistakes. And before we get to that, sign up for BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Use the promo code YouTube150. Now back to the mistakes, which I think are very fixable. No team can go without flaws over the course of a season. I still believe the Vikings are the best team in the league. These are things that they can work on, and I think they can overcome as the games go on. But the mistakes. The second to last possession for Minnesota, Sam Darnold threw a hospital pass to Brandon Powell, which resulted in him getting hurt. It was behind him. It was just a bad decision overall. He got hit by, I believe, 2 defenders on that play, temporarily got taken out of the game. So the Vikings ended up punting the ball. Green Bay, they then go 3 and out, which is great. However, because Brandon Powell is out temporarily of the game, Green Bay, they punt the ball, and instead of Brandon Powell fielding the punt return, instead it's Jalen Nailor, who absolutely was a disaster on that attempt. That muff punt, 2 plays after that, touchdown Green Bay. You were up 28-0. And if you had done a better job offensively, your last possession, you could have gone up, best case scenario, 35-0, but alas, 28-7 going into halftime. Then to open up the second half, Green Bay, they go 3 and out. Good stuff right there. Vikings, they get the ball back, and Sam Darnold, poor decision. At the same time, 2 things can be true. Poor decision made by throwing that ball, I believe, on 3rd and 1, or at least the target of that pass to Aaron Jones on 3rd and 1. But by the letter of the law, that was not an interception. It wasn't. The defender got his hands on the ball and bobbled it at least 2 or 3 times before he finally secured it. And once he did, his elbow went out of bounds. And the fact that the refs reviewed that and said, hey, the call stands is mind-boggling to me. The refs were absolutely atrocious in this game. However, Sam Darnold, you don't make that decision to throw that ball to Aaron Jones in the first place. We're not even having that conversation. So you allowed, again, for Green Bay to stay in that game. And then Sam Darnold, these are all mistakes primarily off of Sam Darnold. The hospital pass to Brandon Powell that resulted in the muff punt by Jalen Naylor. The interception that shouldn't have been an interception, but alas, you shouldn't have made that decision in the first place. And then the sack fumble forced by Kayshawn Nixon. The Packers ended up turning that into 8 points for themselves. So because of the 3 key mistakes, major mistakes made by Sam Darnold, you allowed the Packers to stay in the game for no reason. It was so unnecessarily close. You don't make those mistakes, you win this game at least 35-0, maybe even 42-0. So what I would like to see, first off, we do have to at some point expect for the Vikings to have to come from behind to face a deficit and overcome that, because they've just been blowing the doors off the buildings of their opponents. Can they come back from behind? That's one thing. But in the event that they keep this train on rolling and they get off to a hot start and they're up by 2-3 touchdowns, I need to see the Vikings be not just aggressive, but also smart. Better decision making. This is something that is totally fixable. But looking at the rest of the stats, talked about Sam, talked about Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Aaron Jones, man, he got 93 yards on the ground, didn't get a touchdown. I wish I was really rooting for this man to score at his old stomping grounds. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Blake Cashman was everywhere. Got a pass breakup, tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, 11 tackles, 6 solos. Cam Bynum was good as well, 2 pass breakups. Talked about Byron Murphy Jr. The redemption arc for this dude starts right now, evidently. Harrison Phillips was great. Josh Metellus. Hey, Patrick Jones II. I know Dallas Turner was active for this game, but I didn't see much of him. Patrick Jones got another sack to add to his total. For him, that's going to be 5 sacks in 4 games. Good stuff right there. Shaq Griffin got an interception. Camus Grugier-Hill, back-to-back games with interceptions. And then obviously talked about the Byron Murphy Jr. interception. This is a good team. I think the best team in the league still, even with these mistakes. Everybody else can come up with their narratives as far as how the Vikings are frauds. That's all well and good. Let them have it. All these other teams can get all the hype, while the Vikings get all the wins and make all the plays. This is something that I think is good to go through early on in this season, to be humbled. Let us fans talk smack for the Vikings. Let us do the talking. And we'll take the embarrassment. I will gladly fall on the sword of embarrassment if this all goes to hell. I don't care. But I think for the players and the coaching staff, this was a good, humbling moment to say, all right, we're a great team, but we're not ready to take off just yet. Whatever we're going to accomplish this year, we want to give ourselves a fair chance. And this is what we have to work on. Decision making. That's it. You fix that, you correct those mistakes, oh, the sky is the limit for this team. Vikings win 31-29. They're 4-0. Again, shout out to the folks at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We'll see you next time.